Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm your host, Armando Ledoux. We're here to explore the realms of business, marketing, and life. Ready to make ideas stick and grow them into something great? Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Managing Partners Podcast, where law firm leaders learn to think bigger. I'm Kevin Daisy. Let's jump in.
Hey, it's Brian DeJoles, and you're listening to the Spaghetti on the Wall and Managing Partners podcast. We are live at the NTL Summit here in Miami, and I'm joined by Josh Hayyatt. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And can you tell us, where are you based, Josh?
I'm based out of New York.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And can you tell me like a little bit about your background and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm president of Expert Institute. Joined here 4 years ago. Prior to that, I was in the private equity world. So I had a bit of a career switch, wanted to be a part of building something, and found this industry particularly interesting, which we can get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, been Expert Institute. We find expert witnesses for attorneys, the largest firm in the country. We're working on tens of thousands of cases for PI and ML attorneys each year.
Wow, that's fascinating. How did you find yourself? It's not something you hear every day.
Yeah. So coming from the private equity world, I was able to kind of put my private equity hat on and be like, what's an interesting industry to participate in? And I also came across our founder, who at the time was looking for another person to be more strategic at the company and a CFO actually. So then I joined the company, thought it was really interesting because of the industry dynamics. There's so much technology and more services and outsourcing. And then this company spoke for itself. The performance, the growth trajectory was really great.
Fantastic. And yeah, that has been a big theme here at the conference is the technology that's being implemented, especially with AI and things like that. And but off camera, you had talked a little bit about you see things going in a certain direction. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think I provide an interesting perspective coming from the private equity world, having looked at a bunch of different other industries over my time in private equity, a bunch of different companies. I think this industry is going through a pretty interesting inflection point. There's a lot of capital coming into the industry, capital being defined as there is some new this is the early days of private equity actually coming into the industry, but there's been litigation funding. And then a lot of these owner operators, the law firms and the managing partners thinking about how they can use capital to juice other aspects of the business. I think that capital ultimately will lead to people spending more money and getting smarter about marketing and lead gen. And then as firms try to become more profitable and make sure that they generate more cash flow, I think on the back end, there's going to be a lot of outsourcing of non-core functions. And I think lawyers will be able to focus on get the business side of things outsourced to the people who are really great at it, and focus on working up cases and spending more time with their clients.
Excellent. And so while you're here at NTL, what's your overall goal with the conference? Like, what would a win look like for you?
Meeting with other service providers and vendors to figure out ways that we can work together, going back to the theme that I just mentioned around there's a lot of great marketing firms that are helping out these law firms generate leads. And then there's also a lot of other firms that these law firms are using to outsource some of the things that might not be core to them, right? And might allow them to spend more time on practicing law. And then also meeting with the different law firms. I mean, there's so much evolution going on in the industry. So meeting with partners with a lot of these law firms to figure out what trends they're seeing, and then tell them about the Expert Institute story.
Yeah. And what are some of those trends that maybe you've been hearing about at the conference here?
Yeah, I mean, AI is obviously a big one, but I think even predating AI, it comes back to the theme that I keep talking about here, which is outsourcing non-core functions. There was service providers beforehand that did that. We are one of them. And then there's all these new AI firms that are ultimately giving lawyers more leverage so they don't have to spend time on reviewing medical records or processing demand letters, or for us, finding an expert witness, right? That's not a core function for them. And we can find them better expert witnesses that are going to increase their settlement value and their case's value and take time off of their hands so they can spend more time working with the injured parties or working on developing the case strategy.
Wonderful. And, not so they're all serious questions, but something maybe like a little bit more light and fun. When you aren't working, what are some hobbies that you have so people get to know who you are?
Very, very into exercise. Exercise is a big thing. Trying to always keep healthy, but it also helps me take my mind off of work, and it's a therapeutic in that aspect. Sure. Maybe.
What kind of exercises have you been like implementing these days?
Mainly things at the gym, cardio. I like to get out and run, do a lot of biking. I think biking is a great way. I mean, I live in New York City, so you can't really do much road biking, but when I get outside of the city, a lot of road biking. And then the other big one, which don't get to appreciate much in New York, definitely not in Florida either, is skiing. I'm a big skier as well.
That is really great to experience it. In terms of like running though, like, are you going to hit Miami Beach at all? Cause like, especially on a date like this, it's like a little cooler out. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. And Sunday it was a bit better. I was able to get a run in, but today feels like a New York temperature, so not the best weather.
Yeah. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to the Spaghetti on the Wall and Managing Partners podcast. Until next time.